D. Christopher here, bringing you new horror-fueled content every single week, giving you my recommendations on what to watch each weekend. A big 감사합니다 to the ever-generous Sean Redlitz over at Shudder, who was kind enough to send me an advanced screener of a brand new Shudder original from South Korea, launching this Thursday on the platform. Metamorphosis is a supernatural horror directed by Kim Hong-sun. It was filmed in the Philippines and was released in Korea at the end of last year. It feels a bit like The Exorcist meets the Amityville Horror with a touch of Jordan Peele's Us. So if you enjoyed those movies, you'll probably like this one. If you've been watching my channel for a while, you'll know that I'm a big fan of a lot of Korean content, but I draw the line at K-pop. It just doesn't have enough blast beats. Before I get into the story, if you're a horror fan or looking for movie recommendations in general, please consider subscribing. It's totally free and I've got some really exciting collaborations upcoming that you will not want to miss. Okay, let's get into it. The movie opens with a classic exorcism scene. The possessed girl is tied to a bed with the priest chanting at her, cross in hand, trying to expel the demon which has made itself at home in the young woman's body. Unfortunately, in this case, the exorcism doesn't go to plan. The demon, and therefore its host, jumps out of a third-story window, killing the girl, but not before it promises to come back to Earth and torment the exorcist's family with the line that I opened this video with. We then flash forward to the exorcist's brother and his family moving house to escape the horrid rumours the failed exorcism has spawned. And it's here that we are introduced to the characters we will be following throughout the next couple of hours. This is a pretty long film, clocking in at 113 minutes, but with the amount of twists, turns and unexpected elements the viewer experiences throughout, it's perfectly justified. Often in modern horror, we are subjected to cheap jump scares in the place of tension, atmosphere and emotion. In Metamorphosis, the opposite strategy is employed. There are few jumps, but lots of atmosphere and emotion. You will find yourself really feeling for the family and the horrors that they have to endure. This serves as a testament to the solid writing, but also to the heart-wrenching delivery from the key cast members. One of the most interesting things about this story is the way that the demon presents itself. Typically, in movies like this, the demon enters someone's body and takes it over, covering it in boils and scars in the process, and from that point forward, puppeteers it from within. While there is an amount of that here, there is also another key layer which really took me by surprise as the family and the viewer begins to understand what's going on. It's pretty creepy, and while the demon can be robotic at times, just trying to hurt people, it seems to revel in psychological torture as well as physical, harking back to Pazuzu's techniques in The Exorcist, but in an even more sinister way, using hallucinations amongst other things to cause the family to turn against one another, as well as question their own sanity at times. One of the many strengths that this film has is the imagery used throughout, utilizing elements of Korean folklore, like the murder of crows, which seems to be present every time an evil event takes place. They even appear to cause a few. In Korean culture, the crow is a sign of bad luck, but is also a sign that death is about to occur, like a banshee's scream, which is how it's used in this film. So if you see a crow, you know that someone is going to die, or perhaps have just expired in the last few moments. This acts as a nice reoccurring element from the first scene to the last one. Speaking of the ending, obviously I'm not going to reveal what happens, but the intense performance from the father character in the final sequence is a real tearjerker. So we know the acting is great, we know the story is great. Let's talk about the production. The movie was shot on Arri Alexas, so you know that the image quality is going to be second to none. They say that a good story is all that's important, but if this was shot on a GoPro, I probably wouldn't be able to say all of the nice things that I'm about to say. A good film needs to have a backbone in the form of a great story, obviously, But to tell the story effectively, you have to invest in creating the vision that you see in your head through good cameras, lighting, sound design, art direction, and the compositions in general. Without the appropriate tech and a skilled team to wield it, you risk not being able to effectively tell the story, or even worse, distracting the viewers, making it more difficult for them to see the things they need to be seeing and hear the things that they need to be hearing. What's great about this movie is that all of the above boxes are ticked and are complemented by subtleties and callbacks to genre classics. The story has mysteries and subplots throughout that allow you to really understand the characters. It had lots of elements of drama in there too, which really allowed the cast to show off their talents. There wasn't much comedy here at all. It was a very serious script, but because the characters were so three-dimensional, the lack of comic relief didn't affect the effectiveness of their performances. The special effects in Metamorphosis are also pretty good. They merge VFX and practical effects very well. It did feel more like the kind of effects you'd probably see in a high-end television production as opposed to a feature, but that's probably down to the budget, and it didn't detract from the experience too much at all. In fact, it was still thoroughly enjoyable and very well done. I've been struggling to score this movie. I thought it was brilliant, but also I know that I could never score anything higher than a 9 because the perfect film does not exist. So I'm going to give Metamorphosis an 8.5 out of 10. I think that's fair. It's not going to take the place of Parasite as my favourite movie of the year so far, but it is certainly up there, and I will be recommending it to anyone that will listen. I did try to keep today's video fairly brief, but I won't know whether I've succeeded or not until I get into the edit. But either way, if you're not already subscribed to Shudder, go take advantage of the code in the description below. That code will give you an entire month for free. And as this month has some incredible releases upcoming, it's a pretty good idea to do it right now. Be sure to check out this Friday's video, because I'm going to give you the lowdown on everything that will be released during the month of July on Shudder. And if you've made it this far, hit that like button or drop a comment down below to let me know. Once again, thanks so much for spending this time with me, listening to me ramble on about horror movies. I really appreciate you checking out my thoughts. So, I have and ever will be D. Christopher, and I will see you in the next one.